Hi, my name is Teresa Pierce, and I'm the Interpretive Programs Coordinator here at Auburn Valley State Park. Today we wanted to give you kind of an inside glance into our Marshall Brothers paper mill, which we have on site. A really cool historical site, and not a lot of people get to look inside. So we wanted to tell you a little bit how it got here. The mill itself actually dates back to the 18th century in portions. It's been a lot of different things. A grist mill, which is basically a flour mill, a woolen mill, and even a snuff mill. If you're familiar with Dew Point Brewery, that was built by the Garretts, who had a snuff mill there as well, but this initially was also one of their snuff mills. But in the 1880s, the Marshalls from Pennsylvania had begun to expand their paper-making process, and they wanted a new mill location. Their eye was caught on this new area of York Lynn, formerly called Auburn, and the Auburn mills here, which were woolen mills which had been destroyed in a fire, and they wanted to buy it. And so they did, and it became the Marshall Brothers Paper Mill. Here at the Marshall Brothers Paper Mill, they actually made rag paper, which is paper made from fibers, almost a kind of a jean material that we think of today. Even though most mills in Wilmington and surrounding areas were making paper out of wood pulp, kind of paper you're familiar with today, cheaper printer type paper, the Marshalls had sort of a niche business, and they made a name for themselves making quality paper. Now, whether it's made out of rag paper or made out of wood pulp paper, the process is pretty similar. And this is the most important part of the process. Once the fibers have been broken down and are in a fine slush, a slurry as it's called, it's prepared and it's poured out of this head box here, and it's sprayed in a fine mist onto this rolling piece of fabric. If you look up close, this mesh is actually covered with both dust and tiny fibers of the paper. This wet slurry is slowly pulled across, and small vents, small vacuums, suction out the water as it's pulled down. It was really groundbreaking for the late 1800s if you think about it. And as it goes down along, water is pulled out of it, and the vibration of the vacuums even it out, so that by the end of this line of fabric, you have a very wet but even looking thin layer of paper. This is where Israel Marshall would have really have been making the end product, the paper that he was so famous for. The long series of rolls compress and flatten and even out the paper that was coming off that belt, that fine slurry. By the end of the process, he could have any color paper that he wanted, so long as he added the dyes at the beginning, blue fine paper. Construction paper would be a pretty good example of what you would think of the kind of paper this machine was making. So this is kind of the end of the paper making process. There's a lot more to it. There's so much more to see here in the mill, here at Auburn Valley, and we're really excited about the changes and the renovations inside the mill. However, if you want to see more, you'll have to come back. I'm standing at the very end of the process. This is where the rolls of paper would finally sit on, be sliced up, and carried off to its end destination. There's been hundreds of years of history here in this mill. I hope we've interested you with this little sneak peek inside.